1988. Jag vill visst nog komma jag köra den tele på engelsk så jag kan fånga också de små nyanser i min mening om brödlagning. I'm coming from a family of farmers in Umbria, in Perugia. And since when I was a child, I was in the middle of a lot of taste, a lot of flavors, a lot of food impressions. And this one made me to turn my life from a bankman into a cook in a restaurant. I opened Aurora in 1983. And then in 88, tired of not having any decent Italian bread in Denmark, in the restaurant, I decided to take over a small bakery in the periphery of Copenhagen and started Fornaio. What we did since the very beginning was to reproduce what is the most original recipes of bread from Italy. We wanted to have in Aurora, in our restaurant, a bread that was really telling our story. Since the very beginning, we went in Italy to find the best raw materials. We have been taking ourselves first and then transporting up flour from different parts of Italy. The semola, we take it in Sicily. The rye flour, the spelt, and the full corn, we take it in Umbria, in a consortium, organic consortium, and then white flour in the northern part of Italy. Why we do this? Because Italy is so wide and gives so many variety of products that we want to pick the best where we can find it. So we are not just looking for a flour, but we are looking for the best flour. The story with Fornaio went very rapidly because after the first 3 months when we were producing 25 kilo, we started to have customers asking for 400 kilo a day. And therefore, the production went very, very strongly up. And we moved every year for 3 years. We moved to different bakeries until now in 2014, where we have been setting our production in the old Trianon bakery. What is our philosophy? Our philosophy is to give to the bread the right taste. And what is the right taste of the bread? The right taste of the bread, it is made by 5 different elements. You need to have, when you speak about taste, many, they think only of flavor. But flavor is only one part of the taste. The taste itself is generated by all the sensation the nerves takes from your mouth and from your pupils and bring it up to the brain to give you the joy of eating. To play a role in the taste, we have different components. One is the consistency, one is the structure of what you eat, one is the juiciness, and then there is the flavor. There is, of course, also the look that it gives you an impression of what you are going to eat. But it's all these 5 together that at the end bring you to your brain the final sensation of the taste. For us, bread is something that needs to tell you the story of the corn. It needs to show you the taste of the corn. It needs to have a very clean, sweet taste of corn. And in order to do this, we are not using yeast. At least we use it in very, very minor part. When we speak about yeast, we are using 1 per million of yeast, 2 per million of yeast. We never use percent of yeast. And we do it because in this way, the flavor of the corn is pure and is very, very clean. We don't use much salt either, because also the salt is standing in the point of your tongue and is taking over the taste of all the other ingredients. In order to achieve this one, of course, we use sourdough, because otherwise we couldn't make the bread. So sourdough, that some of them we have been starting 15 years ago, where we have been prepare a formula, adding flour and water to some other very natural ingredients. And 15 years, in the last 15 years, we have been just refreshing them, adding every day flour and water. Because at the end, the sourdough is made only of these 2 elements. The flour doughs we use are two different kinds. One is very liquid and another one is very compact, so they are the opposite. One is to give you the strength to the dough, and it is the very compact one. The other one is to give the flavor and the silkiness to the bread, and it is the very fluid one. Yeah, for example, you have a typical example of a sourdough that is made with around 90% of water. We use a lot of water. As you can see, it's almost fluent. It's very liquid. So it has a life of its own. When you move it, you see it looks like if it has a life on its own. And this is what it allows us to produce a bread that we are selling as a bake-off, because we are having an extreme water content, an extreme juiciness, and that make it possible after it's finished bake 85% to have it again in the oven for 7-8 minutes and bring it to the point you want. Because in our story, the real only fresh bread is warm bread. There is no other bread that is fresher than the bread when it's warm. I mean, when you buy bread in a bakery, it's made 12 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours before. So it's full baked, but it's not fresh. The only way you have to have fresh bread, it is to have a very, very good bake-off product. One of the components of the result is definitely the fact that we need to use very clean product, raw materials, meaning that organic. And the reason is that in many flours today, you can find up to 16 different additives. So you have 16 different additives that is going to be added to the additives that some of the bakers are putting in the dough while making the dough. And all this one is going to cause a lot of different sickness. On the top of this, and the very first one is the gluten allergy. The gluten is not a dangerous or a poison molecule for our body. It's a very healthy one, but it becomes poison because when it's blended together with chemicals, then it gives a cocktail effect that it brings it to be poison. So organic, we are organic since 12 years. We have been trying to be organic in 1990, but it was no certification. So therefore, we couldn't rely on the real status of organic for the products, but we do today. Organic does not mean good quality, because I've been testing a lot of bread and products organic of a very bad quality, but organic is the best that you can get to make a product of a good quality. For us, what it counts in our bread making is the time. The time is what plays the biggest role in what we do. So instead of to try to push the dough, speeding up with a lot of yeast or ascorbic acid or other elements, we want to have the dough to naturally grow. So it has to take from 6 to 8 to 24 hours to grow up slowly to be brought to the point that it should be. The way we operate is mainly by hand. In our bakery, if you ever come, you will see mixers, die cutter, and people cutting dough like this one with the hand, put it in a tray or put it in a long tray to be then place it in the oven. Our hands have the respect of the flour, have the sensitivity to understand when to operate with the flour. The moment that you touch, you understand immediately it is ready or it is not ready. So, and this one is because the natural process are influenced by many factors, like the room temperatures, the humidity, and all these factors are varying during the seasons. So every day is a new day in Il Fornaio, because we do not make the bread like the day before. We make the bread on the premises of what it is today, the conditions for our doughs. The flour have the same careness, because we let it be 3-4 weeks after we get them to settle down and be ready to be used. If you use a flour that is just being grain, it's like a wild horse. You will never know how it's going to react when you are working with it. So it's really lovely to get around this. I mean, in Italy, we say that the dough is give you strength. And in a way, it is absolutely correct, because it's like if you can absorb the energy, the living energy that is in this dough. In the bakery, we are developing products all the time. And our point of view on bread is a bit different from a kind of conventional bakeries, because going with the fact that I am a cook and I have a restaurant, I've been the kitchen chef for 15 years, we are food baking. What does it mean, food baking? We are taking the bread from another angle. So instead of to use just flour, water, and the normal raw materials, we want to use also other raw materials. We want to use vegetables. We want to use legumes. We want especially. But we don't want just to add vegetables or legumes. We don't want to take a bag of frozen spinach and just add it to the dough. We want to take fresh spinach, bake it in the oven with olive oil, a bit of garlic and salt, and then take it to a taste point. And when you blend it in the dough, is going to give a completely different soul to the bread. So in the last days, we have been working a lot with what we call pizzette, because today there is much the trend of pizza with very, very thin dough in the bottom and a lot of filling on the top. But that one, it can be a way of serving the topping that you put on. It can be a way of serving whatever you want to put in. But it does not give you the real sensation of eating a pizza, because the biggest part of the pleasure of eating a pizza is given by the bread. I mean, the moment that you bite a warm pizza, you have the topping, all the vegetables, the mozzarella, but you have also the bread, where in the bottom is crispy, then in the middle is airful but juicy. And the taste of the bread together with the taste of the other ingredients is what is making the real taste of the pizza. The pizza, I don't know if all of you knows, but it is originally a bakery product. So it was the baker, when I was a child, the baker, when he was finishing preparing the bread, he was taking all the different leftover of the dough he had, put it on the table, working table, cutting them in small pieces and spicing them with different things, with onions, with sage, with rosemary, with tomatoes, with sausages, with everything. So the pizza originally is a product of a bakery. And as a bakery, we want also to repropose it in this way, taking it from the old tradition of also my family. I came from a family of farmers. And what the grandmothers were doing when they were making the bread once a week, they were making the bread and then they were making the pizzette. They were taking something that was left over of the food that we had just been eating, for example, and it could be more or less anything. And then they were blending it in the dough, and then they were making the pizzette. So you will have this beautiful piece of bread, very rustic, where inside of it you will find a lot of different tastes, a lot of different flavors, because the ingredients were inside. And this is what we have been doing recently with the two new products we are presenting. That are some pizzette where, for example, on this one, instead of just to take a piece of dough and put a slice of potatoes and a stick of rosemary just to make it beautiful, I have been taking potatoes, cut them in cubes, and putting some rosemary in it, olive oil, salt, and baking them. Then I've been taking some olives and doing the same. Olive oil, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit of salt, and then putting them in the oven to bake. Afterward, we take these raw materials, and they've been cooked, And then we put it in the dough, not all at the same time, because you need to respect the essence of the raw material. Some of the raw materials, if you put it in too early, they are going to disappear flavor-wise, and some other one, on the contrary, you need to put it early in order to give some more taste to the bread. So therefore, we put it in different process in the dough, and then we let it grow for 8-9 hours. Then we cut them. Instead of squeezing them, we stretch them. We put it free on big trays, and then we put on the top some potatoes that have been slightly touched in salted water with some olive oil on the top, and then some onions that have been slightly put in the oven just to give a little bit more sweetness and take off the kind of harsh power that they have. And then we put them together with mozzarella on the top of this with a little bit of rosemary. If you eat this one, you are going to perceive each single ingredient that you have in it, because it is made in a way that the taste that you will get, the final taste, is going to give you the possibility to perceive everything that is in it. The other one is made with a very fluid dough that is even more fluid than this one. And instead of to make it as normally the pizza are made with very stiff dough. Practically, they make a dough with around 50%, 55% of water, very stiff. Leave it in the refrigerator, cut it in balls, and take it the day after, and then make it into a round pizza and put in something on the top. We work on the opposite way because we let the dough to grow quite a lot. We use a lot of water in it, and then we take it and we don't squeeze it, but we stretch it. And stretching it, you maintain the air inside, and with the air inside, you maintain also the flavor of it. And then we use the polpa di pomodoro that is made with our own recipes. We use just a little bit of mozzarella, and then we use other ingredients. It can be a chili salami, as well as it can be some mushrooms, as well as it can be some beetroots, as well as it can be some Swiss chard that you have been boiling and put it in the pan for a little while. So we want to have the bread as the real base for the topping that you are going to have on it. How is going to be the future? That's a good question. I think that we are going to be more and more involved in this food baking. We are going to, with our new brand, Yelmo B, going to deep much more into Danish traditions. We have some very, very good Danish bakers that are working with us on this project. We want to reproduce the most archaic products that your country is producing, because what we want to do at the end, it is to have a cultural exchange of our gastronomic history. We want to repropose, as we have been doing last 33 years, the Italian history, the Italian food culture, and share it with you. But we want also to repropose at the same time the Danish bread culture and share it also with you. All this because we think that bread doesn't belong to us, bread making doesn't belong to us, but is a part of the cultural knowledge of humanity, and we want to give to the next generation this knowledge in a way that they can pass it to the future generations. Thank you very much.